it's time now that the President gives his final orders. Over to you, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Minister Thabisa. Let me also extend my gratitude to all of you here present and to the DP as well, who's been whispering a number of things and suggestions to me here. So he's kept me very busy throughout this whole period. And I did recognize the various ministers who are here as well, and I'm glad that we're seeing quite a number of ministers who have joined us. But I do want to thank all of you for what I think is a frank and constructive level of discussion that has characterized this engagement. And I'm sure we would all have wanted us to devote more time to discuss a number of issues that affect your work. Our discussions, however, today have reinforced what I would say is the central point, that our water and sanitation crisis, that it is not only confined to one municipality, one province, or one institution. It's cross-cutting. It is rooted in long-standing weaknesses in governance, in infrastructure maintenance, in technical capability and financial discipline as well. But it's not only in water, and we did get a very good presentation on how we can turn our cities into economic engines of growth, and how, as I think the mayor of Madibeng said, as we mobilize investments at the national level through our investment conferences, we must make sure that they relate to what happens in our local municipalities, for that is where investments really finally take place. So our response must be integrated. It must also be sustained and measurable. I often think about a mayor whose story I read about in Japan, who, upon being elected, immediately in a small town, small fishing town, immediately went to Tokyo and started moving from firm to firm, inviting them and recruiting them to come and invest in his local municipality. And today it's a metropolis. And the key message here is that our mayors must now turn into marketeers of their towns and cities, not so much just administrators. They must take steps to go out and attract investors to come to their cities. And of course, they must be well armed with all the good news that the city or the town has to give. It must be showcasing how the town or the city is well run, how the services in the city function, and be able to say to investors, come to my town or city and invest, and this is what we will offer you. They must become the real economic engines individually themselves. I once, in one of our provinces, as I was being taken around by the mayor, and I saw a huge building, and I asked, what is that building for? It was a manufacturing center, but the mayor did not know and could not tell me what happens in that building. And I later found out that it is a massive manufacturing center. And the mayor had never been there and didn't know how many people were employed and didn't know what services and how well the services were being delivered to that huge complex. So our mayors must therefore become active marketeers of our towns, of our cities. They must be the ones who walk the streets of our towns to see whether there are potholes that impede the movement of the trucks that should be taking out goods, either to customers, to the port, or wherever. They must bother themselves about the sewage spillages that go into our people's houses. And as they see this, they must say, I would not tolerate this in my own house, so I am going to take action to make sure that sewage spillage that happened overnight is closed in the morning. That is what we would like to see. So our discussions here, in my view, have been good because I can see that we have a good collection of people who are committed to serving our people. Now, as we conclude this part of the program, we can agree on 3 key points, and I'll mention others later. First, the commitments discussed here must now move into implementation. And I know there was a mention of certain areas being the exclusive preserve of municipalities. Yes, our constitutional construct is such that it delineates, Section 152, responsibilities to local government. But at the same time, as Deputy Minister Matlobo said, there are certain pieces of legislation that enable national government to intervene. And today is not about saying we are going to intervene. Today is about saying we must collaborate, we must work together. We must join hands and address the shortcomings, the challenges, and that is the responsibility of national government. The plans that we have must be sharpened, and the roles must also be clarified. We must honor our commitments to our people, and we must also honor timelines and be rigorous in ensuring that we adhere to that. Second, the principle of cooperative governance, which I've just mentioned, must be fully operational. The 3 spheres of government must act in concert, guided obviously by this National Water Action Plan that we've outlined, whose copy you should get, and supported by the mechanisms that will now be put in place through by the National Water Crisis Committee and related structures. And thirdly, the public must begin to see results. They must see improved maintenance. They must see that there's operational performance. But when it comes to performance, my wish is that as we perform, we must all seek to perform at the top of our game, at the best of our ability, and deliver the best of services to our people. And there must be better wastewater compliance, more credible implementation, and clear accountability. And we know that the work that we have to do is quite substantial. But this engagement has been able to demonstrate that there is both clarity on the challenge and a shared recognition that the time for incremental responses has passed. Your great applause to what the Minister of Finance said about collecting the monies that are owed to your municipalities through Treasury is a clear indication that National wants to support your work, and those departments and those government entities that owes you money are now going to have to pay up. And the Minister of Finance will make sure. One of you then said, after collecting the money must then be transmitted to you. And that is, I think, what should excite you even more. So we at national level will make sure that we do everything to strengthen local government, to address the challenges that local government faces. So let us leave this session with a renewed determination to ensure that every municipality works and every sphere of government plays its part. There are a number of issues that Minister raised and the DG raised and I also raised, the issue of outsourcing. One is not saying that everything must be insourced, but there are those areas that should remain the area of operation of the municipalities. And we would like, and I would like, you to examine the various tasks that the municipality does and see how best we can strengthen the municipality and what skills we need, whether they are from a technicon or technical college or from a university. And because not every size fits all, everything needs to be crafted in a way that it will fit the circumstances that each municipality operates under. Now, our people must now experience a much better delivery. And of course, as I said earlier, we are moving now to the local government elections. The Constitution calls upon us to hold local government elections every 5 years. Now, ministers often write me love letters. And Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs wrote me a love letter about local government elections. And the minister said, Mr. President, we now are having to address the issue of the local government elections and the date when those local government elections will be held. As set out in Section 159 of the Constitution, we now need to determine when the next local government elections will be held. And he writes that the last municipal councils were elected on the 1st of November 2021, and their tenure expires on the 1st of November 2026. And consequently, the elections for the next term of local government must be held between the 2nd of November 2026 and the 30th of January 2027. And he then cites a piece of legislation, or a case rather, that was taken to the Constitutional Court that determined that we must adhere to what the Constitution says. And the minister says, in terms of Section 24(2) of the Municipal Structures Act, the Minister of Cooperative Governance, after consultation with the IEC and by notice in the Government Gazette, can call and set a date for the election of all municipal councils in the country, and that the notice may be published either before or after the expiry of the term. Now, he continues that in fulfillment of this, I consulted with the Electoral Commission, and following consideration of the available options and then an assessment of the advantages and disadvantages associated with each, it was agreed that the elections should be held on X date, which the President You don't want me to finish. I know you are interested in when. And I knew that that would electrify you. And that will give you a sense of humor. So, and he says, the proposed days offers the following advantages. It falls on a Wednesday. Now you have an idea. And it falls outside the festive period, which we are going to be galloping to, which is likely to support improved voter turnout. Very clever, Minister. With all necessary prior planning, it will have minimal impact on school and higher education exam periods. It does not fall within a peak travel or migration period between provinces and municipalities. South Africans like to travel a lot. It allows sufficient time for post-election establishment processes, including the establishment of councils and ward committees, the conclusion of coalition agreements, which you are going to have in hung councils, and the election of municipal office bearers, the appointment of local representatives to district councils, and the contracting, preparation, and printing of electoral materials. It accommodates other statutory administrative establishment processes following the elections. Now, he goes on to say, this was presented to Cabinet, correctly so, as early as last year, and pursuant to this resolution, he also engaged ministers of basic education, the ministers of higher education, and all structures. Against this background, he says, I kindly request the President to announce the date of the elections, as is the tradition. And having received such a clear and wonderful love letter from Minister Tlhabisa, I now proceed to proclaim the date of elections, which will in the end be gazetted by the Minister in accordance with Section 24(2) of the Structures Act and the proclamation. I need to finish. Now, after which the Electoral Commission will publish the election timetable, indicating the key preparatory activities for the local government elections. And having outlined all that, he therefore, Minister says, Mr. President, please go ahead in the presence of our mayors, our municipal managers, our ministers, everybody who is part of government, and also in the presence of the media, to announce that the elections will be held on a date that you will and I therefore have pleasure in giving Minister Tlhabisa a positive answer to this request that he has made, which he knows the President must announce. And he has said, Mr. President, announce it at this historic meeting when all these people will have come together, representing about 71 or so % of our municipal mayors and municipal managers. So therefore, in the presence of all these important people who play a key role in the governance, I therefore determine that the elections, the next local government elections, which were last held in November of 2021, that 2026 being the year in which the local government elections must be held, they should now be held on a Wednesday, which is in the middle of the week, on a date which I now determine as the 4th of November, 2026. I therefore, and with the full concurrence of the Deputy President here, who was also whispering a lot of things to me, now determined that the next local government elections will be on the 4th of November, 2026. Thank you very much.
Colleagues, Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for laying out exactly the outcomes of this meeting. And what is good, colleagues, you know, as mayors, you have 6 months to go. Ensure that you hand over health councils to the next administration. The outcomes of today's meeting will be then executed, understanding very well we have 6 months to ensure we level the playing field, we allow the readiness for the continuation of the next council on a background that has been solidified in the next coming 6 months. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for convening this meeting. And thank you very much, Deputy President, for honoring this meeting, all our ministers, deputy ministers, honorable premiers. Thank you very much. You nearly made a full compliment. And we really commend what you are doing. Because to make local government work needs your support. Honorable mayors, thank you very much. All our administrative support, thank you very much. We're just going to receive the announcements in terms of where to go from now, but metros, we're coming back 30 minutes after to the same venue. Maput.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, His Excellency, the President, Deputy President, Honorable Ministers, Premiers, all protocol observed. So I'm just going to make quick announcement as we leave this venue. The President, His Excellency, and the Deputy President will go to Prague, but there will be ushers outside, so they'll show you when you need to go. But President and Deputy President, that's actually where you were. We took you in the morning. So as you go out, it will be on your right. And then ministers, our honorable ministers and premiers, you'll be taken to Grand Central Holding Room. That's where you were, is also on the left as you go out. And deputy ministers, MECs, SARGA, National House of Traditional and Concerned Leaders, DGs and CEOs will be taken to Cape Town Holding Room. Again, you were there in the morning, it will be on your left, but there will be ushers as well to assist you. And for the delegates, for the rest of us, the masses. So we'll go to the Clover and Serengeti restaurants. So we are going to the restaurants and the ushers will take us there. And this includes the SAPS, the medics and the security. I thank you, Minister.
Thank you very much, colleagues. Time is already 20 past, which means at 10:02, which is 30 minutes from now, metros, executive mayors, support team, we convene again here at 10:02. The meeting